Hi everybody, it's me, Kathleen from Kathleen's Trot and Trail. Today is, Friday the 16th of April. And I have about an hour to get this recorded and sorry, I've been running around doing stuff. I have about an hour to get this recorded and uploaded. We are headed up to Sioux Falls this afternoon just to have, kind of do happy hour and dinner with Maddie. She needs, well, her grandfather, my husband's dad, gave her his, he got a brand new TV, so he gave her his old one, and it's huge, so it's going to be, she's thrilled to be receiving that. And she is moving house, so we're taking up some moving boxes and just a few other odds and ends things that I still have to collect. I just realized I was going to do that before I filmed, but I was so excited to film today. So I have part of my technology issue solved. I'm now recording directly on YouTube and uploading directly to YouTube, and that's great, except that I cannot do any edits. And I know there's a way to edit from YouTube, but I just haven't figured it out quite yet. I've tried to watch a few videos, but I've also been watching baby chicken videos. So our baby chicks come a week from next Tuesday. And I have been reading and watching and trying to do as much research as possible, talking to lots of people. That's really the best source of information, is to talk to people who already, have brooded baby chicks and raised baby chickens. And so I've been doing a lot of that. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to spend on technology as far as Floss Tube goes, but I'm gonna I'll just for now do these videos. I have a puppy who's not so much a puppy. I was watching Daylene this morning, and she was talking about Miss Maisie and how they're trying to get her out of the puppy stage. And I was like, oh, sweet friend, you have a long way to go, because Bindi will be 2 next month, and she is still such a puppy. The Goldens, and we knew this, none of this is a surprise. We've had Goldens before, and I don't know if I've ever shared that she got the dish rag out of the sink, and then I had a hand towel here, so I don't want her to steal that. She is obsessed with dish rags, so and of course she loves especially the ones that I hand crochet. We had a Golden who lived to be almost 17, and she, we got her as a puppy, and from a family farm, about an hour and a half. It was when we lived in Missouri, and we drove about an hour and a half across the state to get her, because we didn't want to use, even back then, I think we got her in, it seems to me she may have been born in 01, because I think we got her right before September 11th. But anyway, and then she lived till almost 2017, so yeah. But she, she was a puppy until she was 5. I mean, I remember at 5, and we'd had labs before, who, it seems to me that labs at about 2 kind of reach their puppy years, but it's, it just depends on the dog. But Shelby, it took her a long time, and Bindi she's definitely better, and she's super easy to train. So I have recently started making all of my own food for both dogs, and I'm planning to switch over to homemade food for Bitsy too. Also a lot of reading and talking to people, and Bindi is, and so I'm trying to teach both dogs, where before they were able to just kind of graze at will, and we just filled their food bowl up and they would eat. And neither one of them has issues with weight, and so that was fine. But with, homemade food, of course, they look very forward to dinner. They're very excited about their food, dinner and breakfast. And but Bindi is so good. So I've been trying to teach them both to sit and wait until I put the food down and say, okay. And Baxter's to the point where he can sit and he can wait but as soon as I start to set that bowl on the ground, he attacks. Like he doesn't yet have the discipline to wait until I say, okay, where Bindi is so amazing at it. And we feed Baxter first, and then I take her to a different spot. And she knows when we get to that spot, she immediately sits. I don't even have to say sit. And then I usually have to tell her wait, and one time, and then she'll wait, and she'll wait until I put it down and say okay, and then she'll eat. So she's super trainable, and I know that's how Miss Maisie will be too for Daleen. But it's just they're just puppies, and they're just they need a lot of attention and a lot of attention and a lot of love and a lot of reassurance, and I think that's very much a golden thing, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm alone so much here, and we're out in the country. We really don't have neighbors that are close by, and I am perfectly content with the dogs. On Tuesdays and Thursdays now, Brian has gone from 6 in the morning until about 9:30 at night, and because he works and then goes to basketball practice, and it is I'm not lonely one bit between the dogs and Bitsy and everything. So okay, well, let's just get to it. I just have projects, whips to show you. I have no finishes this week. I have a bunch of finishes that I took pictures of that have been gifted and that I took pictures of, but I don't know how to insert those when I go directly from YouTube. So the first thing I just wanted to show you, because I had somebody the other day see that I was reading this magazine at I was getting my hair done. This is about a month ago. And they were like, what magazine is that? I've never seen that. And I wanted to share it with you. So it's called Taproot. And I don't know if you're interested. I feel like the subscription was, is that the right word? Yeah, subscription was very cheap. And it's a once every 2 months now. I can't remember how often I get it. It feels like it's once a month, but it may be once every 2 months. Magazine, and it's for one thing, it's the paper quality is amazing. It's kind of I don't know, it's just a really nice paper quality. And it says Taproot, inspiration for makers, doers, and dreamers. And so it has all sorts of things. It has tons of recipes that sort of lean toward the healthy, so lots of vegan, vegetarian recipes, but not only those. And then it typically has articles about people who have small businesses or have started kind of homesteading type businesses. And then there's always a craft in it each month, or several crafts. And they're different, unique. I mean, not all necessarily things I would do, but like this month it's called the Moon Shadow Table Runner. There is a crocheted sunshine and shadow. That's kind of cool. So it's just a really, really neat magazine. I didn't even see this. There's a pattern for socks. I've never done color work like that in socks. Well, I've never done color work in knitting, so I don't know. I'd have to see if that's, and then there's lots about, usually there's gardening, dyeing, whatever. So Taproot, I think I saw an advertisement for it on Facebook, and I try never to link directly from Facebook or Instagram, but I just went. I think if you just go to taproot.com or Taproot magazine, you can find it if you're interested. And I feel like it wasn't super expensive for what you get. So, okay, these are in, well, not really any particular order. So my focus for April, I had 2 focuses for April. The first was Bunny Bakery by Priscilla and Chelsea. I really wanted to get that done, and I think I showed it to you. Now I can't remember if I even showed it to you, but it's finished. You've all seen it. I did it on a piece of black bean dyed 28 count linen, and wasn't super crazy about the 28 count linen. I thought that some of my stitches looked a little bit questionable, but it actually turned out cute, just because it's a really, really cute chart. I was going to gift it to Maddie because she loves to bake and she loves rabbits. And I showed it to her when she was home over Easter, and she was like, no thanks. not her thing, not her cup of tea. So I finished it actually on a wooden box and put some flowers on it. I'm sorry, I should have brought it over here, but anyway, I'm sure I posted a photo on Instagram if you saw it there. Okay, then my second focus then has been Pink House Sampler and the Noel Sampler. And I should not say that Noel Sampler because I think I've only worked on it once and only put a few stitches in it. But I have done quite a bit with Pink House Sampler, and you've all seen this. I would really like to get this done for April, but I had a bunch of new starts, so, and I don't know why. I'm not doing Mania, and I mean, I'm not officially doing Mania. I'm in this whole mood and mindset of stitch what I want to stitch and start what I want to start when I want to start it. So, I don't know. All week I've been trying to think of a rotation, and yesterday I wrote up a bunch of different. I was really tired. I worked out in the yard for, I don't know, like 4.5 hours yesterday, and all by myself, well, with the dogs. And there's still so much to be done, and you know, you forget. We have 6 acres. Now, not all 6 acres is like lawn, but a lot of the 6 acres is lawn. But just, I mean, there's probably a good acre to 2 acres that's very manicured and needs work, you know, needs kind of constant work. I couldn't believe how many leaves were still, you know, leaves from last fall, because we raked those and we, you know, were very on top, I thought, very on top of leaves. Well, they've just gotten into places, and so we have like, oh, yeah, a lot. But anyway, I was very tired and wasn't really in the mood to stitch, and so I pulled, I just got out my iPad and started making a list of possible rotations. And you know, when I got to Thursday, since yesterday was Thursday, I'm like, okay, well, Thursday could be, I came up with Thankful Thursday, and I could work on Thanksgiving projects because I love Thanksgiving and fall type cross stitch, and I have so many cute Thanksgiving projects. And then I was working on something else, and I didn't feel like switching over, so I didn't. So I, you know, a rotation, that's just dumb. But anyway, my focus this week on Pink House Sampler. So the house, oh, I just dropped all my threads. The house has been done for a really, really long time. I'm kind of, every time I stitch on it, I try to at least do 1 thread length of the grass, because the grass is a lot of fill in. And I think I'm going to take this with me to Sioux Falls, and if I don't end up having to drive because Brian either gets sleepy or has to work, then I think I'll take this with me and I'll work on the grass. But the big thing that I did was I put in my Aunt Genevieve's name. Now, and I was watching Darlene this morning, and she was talking about changing samplers, and I'll do the same thing that she does. Did I say Darlene? Daleen. I will do the same thing she does, where I will put, it says, the original says Mary Jane Carver on it. I will put a picture of the original and put all the information on the back once I have this framed. But my Aunt Genevieve is was my dad's oldest sister. She was the oldest of 13, and for a long time when I was tiny, I thought she was my grandmother, because when my grandmother passed away, actually the year that I was born, so 1967, my Aunt Genevieve moved back in with my grandfather because his health was failing, and she moved in to take care of him. And so I always saw her at my grandfather's house, which was the home my dad had grown up in, and I thought and assumed that she was my grandma. And we were always very, very close. She had a big family of her own, but most of them lived in Denver, which is where we lived, and she lived in Antonito in the San Luis Valley of Colorado. And we went down probably in the summer. We may have gone down there once a month at least, and in the winter probably a couple times a year if the roads were okay. It used to be about a 5-hour drive. I think now it's only about 4.5 hours. But if you look at a map of Colorado, we lived in Denver. They lived in the San Luis Valley, which is on the very kind of south central border of Colorado, right across the border from New Mexico. And in fact, I think it's 30, I think Antonito, the little town that my dad grew up in, was about 30 miles from the border, the New Mexico state border. And she was just awesome to me. But what I called her, okay, so her name was Genevieve Della Salazar. Her real official name was Genevieve Della Salazar Montoya, which was her married name, but her husband had died. I never knew him. He had died years and years and years before. And I don't know, there was no way I could fit all of that. And I wanted to make sure that I got Salazar in there. And so I kind of look at this as if she would have stitched this, she would have stitched it as a little girl when her name was Genevieve Della Salazar. Now, what's so interesting about it, and I talked to her daughter the other day to get the official, make sure I was spelling everything correctly, and I had totally forgotten that Della was her middle name because we called her Aunt Veva, which was this, Spanish short for Genevieve was Veva. And so we called her Aunt Veva. So I was thinking it was Genevieve Veva Salazar, but completely forgetting the Della. Well, Veva wasn't part of her official name at all. That's just what we called her. And I wanted to note, because my dad has 13 brothers and sisters, and most of them don't have birth certificates. They were all born at home. I think all of them were born at home. And, back in as you can see, she was born in 1911. Yeah, so there was dispute for years. My dad thought he was a year younger than he actually was. And then there was some sort of certificate that we found, and we're like, Dad, you were born in 1920, not 1921. And so anyway, so I wanted to note, make sure I noted, birth and death. So she was born September 5th, 1911, and she passed away March 1st, 1987. So anyway, I decided to do this one for her. I have picked out O Marie by Reflets de Soie, and I'm going to do that one for my Aunt Maria, who was the other aunt that I was really, really close to. I don't know if I'll do all the aunt. I probably won't. There were some of them that I barely knew. I need to pick up. I dropped all of this floss, and I would normally cut this out, but since I don't know how to make edits, I can't. And I cannot leave this floss on the ground because Bindi will steal it and run off with it. And anyway, so I'm pleased with that. I would really like to have that finished by the end of the month, and we'll see. Then yesterday, just on a whim, I wanted to go back to this. I started this, I think last month or the month before. It was a random purchase I saw. I thought it was so cute. I got spring done. I'm working on summer, which is so perfect for strawberries. Everybody's stitching strawberries right now. And I needed a good navy blue, and I found it. So I think June is very much a blue month. I look at June as this color of blue, kind of a dusty blue, but this had a navy blue roof on the house. And so got a little bit, and you can see so spring is done, and then summer will be here. And I'm doing them all on one piece, but then I'll separate them and I want to finish them just like this, in kind of an accordion. That's so cute. I think that's so cute. I'm sure I have the fabric tag. Oh, the navy blue that I found that, so this is how I found this blue. All of a sudden one day I was going through fabric looking for something else, or going through a box of floss for something else. I have a box of floss for flosses that I used in projects and then I'm no longer using, and I need to organize them. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at a linen press to buy for my friend Janice. She sells antiques as well as rugs, for a floss organizer. But anyway, short term, I was going through this box, and all of a sudden Bindi, looking for floss for another project, and Bindi was chewing on something, and it was floss, and I grabbed it from her, and I'm like, there's my navy blue. So it's DMC 738 is that navy blue, and it's so pretty. It's kind of almost a midnight blue or a purpley blue. It's really pretty. Okay, I saw this. This was one of those squirrel charts. I saw this. Priscilla and Chelsea were showing previous finishes. It's called The Rooster and the Hens. And they said it so fast. They showed it, but they said what it was called so quickly I couldn't understand. And I rewound and listened to it again and again. And then I called my husband in, and I'm like, can you tell me what they're saying? And he couldn't hear it either. And we thought we could hear that "and hens" part. I don't know why I didn't think about rooster. Anyway, it took me forever to find it, but 1, 2, 3 stitch had it. I think it's so cute. Well, I tried to do something kind of wild. I found this scrap, and I don't know where I got this, but I found this scrap of maybe like 10 count in my fabric bin. And I thought, oh, I want to make that bigger, and so let me try to do it on there. And so I got a really good start on it. I don't know if I like it on this. I don't know. It's a little bit iffy. I'm using 2 strands. It's probably not, I probably need to be using 3. I don't know. I may scrap this fabric and restart this. I'm not sure that I like that. So I was stitching it and I was like, well, just finish it. It'll look, it kind of reminds me of the old, the printed cross stitch where you would have your pattern printed and it would be, the crosses would be like that big. It kind of reminds me of that look, but I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I don't even know what's in this bag. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of Lori Holt lately, Be in My Bonnet, and I've always loved her charts and patterns, or not her charts. I didn't know she did cross stitch. I was gonna sit with my back to the window so that you guys could look outside, but it's a gray, cloudy day. We're supposed to get rain. I was originally gonna sit outside, but it's 38 degrees, so I decided not to do that. But I was gonna sit with my back to the window so that you guys could look outside, but it was just too bright and you couldn't see a thing, and it was, yeah, I was really blown out. And anyway, I've been watching a lot of Lori Holt, and so they showed this, and some of the stuff is primitive, but it's not my kind of primitive. It's not the crusty, dirty primitive. It's like more of a bright, it reminds me of more of like a 1920s feed sack type primitive, in those kind of, like 1920s and 30s fabric that's kind of quite a bit brighter, lots of pinks. And I like some of that, but I saw this and I loved it immediately, and it's to match a quilt, and so I bought the quilt kit as well. So it's Lori Holt's Flea Market Flowers, and I just think, oh, it's so cute. So everything came this week, and of course, you know me, I had to start on it right away. I had it all kitted up. Mindy, don't do that. Now she's chewing on she's chewing on the chair that you're sitting on. So Lori Holt's Floss, what do you call this? Floss card. Really, really cute. It's nice and heavy and sturdy, and this is the fabric it came on. It's 25 count, 25 count Laguna. And I did think I was gonna like stitching on this, and I really do. It's really nice, but it goes like that. I did something wrong, and look how close my bottom is. It does fit, but oof, that bottom is really, really, really close. So I don't know what I thought I counted twice before I cut the fabric, but anyway, there's my little start, and it's a joy to stitch. I mean, it's a joy. I could take this with me because I could probably see this in the car really easily. Maybe I'll take both of them, and then I can choose. And then you know what'll happen if I do that? I will end up driving most of the way anyway. Maybe next time I'll bring down the fabric, and you can see the fabric for that, for the quilt for that. I hope to start that in the next couple weeks. And then I wanted to get out some, that's what I didn't bring down. I finished, that was my other April focus. What was it called? Liberty. It was the Cherry Hill design, Sweet Land of Liberty. I finished that. It's not FFO'd yet. I'm trying to find a frame that's right for it. I also thought about making it into a drum. It could be really cute as a drum. I don't know. So I finished that. So I wanted to pull out another patriotic stitch. And so I had started this last year twice. I started it once using all my own colors and fabric, and I hated it. I think I had the whole truck stitched, and it looked awful. The truck was pink. It was terrible. So I kitted it up. I don't remember if I went into Julie's and kitted it up. I think I did. Kitted it up, on, and this is a piece of fabric that I dyed. I don't remember. I think this is Rit dye. And so I had the truck about 3/4 finished, and that was it. And so I've put in this much of the house, this much of the door, the basket, the stem and the leaves, and then this first flower. I love this. This is my kind of primitive, like this kind of fadey. I had to redo the steering wheel because the steering wheel was done in the same floss as the basket, which is bark. But for whatever reason, the part of bark that I used to do the steering wheel was too light and it just completely blended in. So I just stitched over it in black. I didn't even take out what I stitched. It looks fine. I love this fabric though. It's really pretty. I'm pretty sure I dyed it. I think it was a piece of fabric that I got at Hobby Lobby. It feels like that. The stuff that comes in the tubes at Hobby Lobby. Okay, and then I don't have a picture of this, but so Ryan graduates May 15th, and we'll go out to Virginia for his graduation. And this afternoon, we have to choose which graduation ceremony we want to go to because they have two options for graduation. Virginia is still very, very shut down. They're still very, very COVID safe. Their numbers are still quite high. And he's in Fairfax, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C. I know I say Washington funny. Unless I think about it, it's Washington. But anyway, and so they're going to do a couple of like COVID safe options for graduation, and the kids can pick. And so he sent us the options, and one is like outside, across a stage, blah, blah, blah. And one is inside, where you can invite less people, blah, blah, blah. I think that Brian and I are going to be the only ones that are able to go. We'll be fully vaccinated by the time we go. He is. May 6th is my second vaccination. I'm so excited. So we'll be totally vaccinated. But anyway, I wasn't really even thinking of a graduation present for him. We'll give him money. That's kind of our tradition for, you graduate and then. So I think I've told the story before, but when my husband graduated college, his parents gave he and his brother the option of a new car, which was like a used new car, or some amount of money, or we'll pay for you to get your master's degree. And they both chose the new car, and they both regretted it years later. Like, what a dumb, we could have had our master's paid for, And so, but we know, we've already told the kids that we'll help them with their master's programs, and they'll both be getting masters, I'm sure, but at some point. But anyway, so I wasn't really thinking of a gift for him because we'll give him money and that'll be great. But I happened to be, I think I was on Instagram, and I think it was Abby Bella Stitch, and she showed her very minimal progress, but on this, and I had to go look it up. So it's Long Dog Sampler, and I cannot remember if it's called no, it's not Queen's Gambit. It's either Opening or Opener's Gambit, which is the Queen's Gambit. Anyway, it's a chess term. Ryan is super, super duper into chess. When he was home, he started teaching me. He and my son-in-law, Kayla, played nonstop all through the holidays. He got a new chessboard for Christmas. He had watched the Queen's Gambit, which is on Netflix, I think. Netflix or Amazon Prime, I don't remember. And he wanted us to watch it, and we were all kind of like, we don't want to watch a movie about chess. It's such a good movie. So we all watched it together. And anyway, this is a Long Dog Sampler that's all about chess. And so I sent him a text and said, if I were to stitch you something, I'm not going to show you the chart, but if I were to stitch you something, what colors would you want? If it's two-toned, the fabric would be one color and then the floss would be all one color. I said, would you want like black and cream or black and white? And he wrote back first and said, how about like cream and brown to make it look like wood, which is what his new chess set is. And so I went up to look in my stash, and I found this really, really, really cool piece of fabric, which is, I can tell you, a Lakeside linen. I don't know what the dog is barking at, but I have to talk through it because if I stop, I have no choice. It's a lake, right? No, I'm sorry, an under the sea fabrics called Anubis. And it's just a yellowy purple, but I thought quite masculine. And he said, why don't you put a gold on that? And I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. And so I pulled some golds and I pulled a bunch of purples and I sent him pictures and he's like, oh, the gold hands down. And so this is my little start. This is an absolute joy to stitch. I did make a mistake and had to frog, 4 or 5 lines. This is so at the top, there's like a little flower. Oh, I have it upside down. Do I? Yeah. There's a monkey. I started in the upper left. There's this funny little monkey, and then there's a castle right here. And I made a mistake, and so I had to frog like 4 or 5 rows here. But it is a joy to stitch. It is so much fun. It reminds me how much I love, and I have several long dogs that I need to get back to because I was having so much fun. And it's just, it's really fun. I probably could take this with me too. It's really fun to stitch all in one color sometimes, especially when you have things that are, and then I started this, going to do a round robin with some friends, and thought this would be so much fun to send around for everybody to stitch on. And you've all seen it, Little Bead Sampler. I think it's from the expo. And Daleen is working on this as well. And Daleen made the comment, so I was thinking, since we're gonna send it around, and there's like no expectations that they all need to finish it. It's just put a few stitches in it, send it back, that's fine. But I thought it'd be really great if I could get the whole border done, and then that way people could choose. If they don't like stitching words, they could stitch down here, and if they do like stitching words, they could stitch up here, and people could kind of pick and choose what they wanted to work on. Well, I started that border, and oh my gosh, it looks simple. Doesn't it look so simple? And it really isn't hard, but it is really tough to get a rhythm with that border. And so when I saw that Daleen showed it, I started to write to her and say, what do you think about that border? And then she goes, you guys, this border is killing me. It's just, and so it really is. So, but I have a really good start on, no, I don't. I always think I'm further along than I really am, but I do have somewhat of a start on it. So I need to finish that by the end of April so that it can be sent out May 1st. And here are all of my threads. I mean, it only calls for like 4 or 5 colors, but it's Blackbird and Pollywog and Cherry Cobbler and Whitewash. Yeah, really, really pretty. Oh, and this is so pretty. I got this from Julie at Reflections. She makes her own little fobs for thread drops, and she had a whole series of these ladies, and I thought they were so cute. And she always puts a charm or a button or something else on them, and yeah. So I thought that was an appropriate charm for a round robin. Okay, and then when I was trying to pick out the round robin, she pulled this, and I almost used this until we found Little Bead Sampler. And then I was like, yeah, but I still want that. And so it's just super easy, but it's Stacy Nash Fresh Picked Pin Keep. I feel like this is something you could do for a friend or several friends, do several of these. How darling is that? I just realized those are strawberries, so here we go with strawberries. And of course I came home and had to start on it immediately, right? Because that's how I rock and roll. And so I got to start, oh yeah, and I started watching Downton Abbey again, because I found out you could watch it on Amazon Prime. And so I started watching Downton, and that's just the top of the basket. And then, the start on the rest of the basket. So how fun. I think this is really pretty. And then, is this what I think it is? Oh no, this is something different. This is another start. This was the one thing that I had Julie order for me from Expo. Actually, I didn't tell her till after, and so she was already sold out, so she had to reorder. But I thought this was so beautiful, and I actually have a cloche that I plan to put this in when I'm finished with it. But it's Butterfly Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. Man, some of her patterns I just love, and I would love to make a couple of these paperweights. Those would be great gifts for friends. And so we decided it doesn't call for that many colors, so we decided to do it in silks. I say we, as in Julie and I. Like we always, should I do it in silk? Should I? What do you think? And I love the MPI silks. I don't have them all in Floss drops yet, but here you go. There's some of them. And then, I mean the colors. Oh, it's blue. Blue is my color. And so this is my new way of, these are just a little bit raggedy because, raggedy, that's not even a word. Ragged. Anyway, she was out of the white that it called for, so I pulled this winter white from Gloriana. I've been buying Gloriana silks from Teresa Kitten Stitcher. They're lush. But, so those with the, so pretty. So pretty. I want to take this, but this is a chart that needs some serious thought, so this will not be a good chart. Plus, this is on, I can tell you, this is on 40 count Bramble Linen by who? This is by Lakeside. And Julie said, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't that be okay? And she said, some people say they can't see the holes on Lakeside on 40 count, and I am not having any problems. It's, this is a slow going stitch just because it's a lot of colors, a lot of, trying to get the needle out of the way, and of course the bend in the fabric is right where so I started in the middle. I thought that was safe. Okay, so that's the beginning of that. Wait, did I start in the middle? Yeah, I did. So it's like right here with this little guy, and then I worked my way. I can't wait to get to the blue. So that's kind of what I've been working on this week. There's been a lot of work on chicken coop stuff, just getting everything ordered, making sure we have everything in. The baby chicks, as you guys probably know, don't go in the chicken coop for about, I think about 6 to 8 weeks. And they need to live inside. So I still don't know quite where we're going to put them. So one option is I could bring them in the house. Some people do that. Some people put them in the garage. That would be an option. But I also have a, huge giant barn that's heated. So that would be a definite option. But then they're quite far away. The barn, it's a 5-minute walk to get down to the barn. So, it's just not like I could peek in on them, or I could put them in the potting shed. That could be an option. So I need to decide. Where I'm going to put them. I'm sorry, that's Bindi chewing on. They got 2 new toys yesterday, and they love to pull the squeakers out of the toys. And then I have to watch that they don't swallow them, because then they love to play with the squeakers. But anyway, so I don't know. My tendency is to want them in the house. I feel like, they're so little and tiny and sweet, and I don't think I can bear having them not in the house. But then that's probably not the smart thing to do when you have a barn. So I don't know. I have to figure that one out. So I've been doing a lot with that, a lot of yard work, a lot of stuff around the house, a lot of getting ready for the garden. I typically order my seeds, but a lot of seeds, and I always wait until April, but a lot of seeds were back ordered, so I guess I'll be buying them locally, so that's fine. I need to do that. It's like a high of 40 here today, and cold for the next couple days. We've had freeze warnings the last few nights, so nothing gets planted here for a while, probably at least until Mother's Day, and we may wait on the garden, the vegetable garden, until June 1st. So anyway, I'm gonna go and see if I can get this uploaded. I hope y'all are well. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and hope to talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.